I've been looking forward to this for a couple of weeks now. So Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormbringer. I've got the first 4 issues here, but today we're concentrating on issue number 1. So many of you may know that in the past I've done lots and lots, hundreds of reviews for Warhammer 40k Conquest, Warhammer Age of Sigmar Mortal Realms, and Warhammer 40k Imperium. And I was dead set that I wasn't going to do Stormbringer. So the only reason why I decided not to do that originally was that I was underwhelmed by the premium subscription, and I've already got quite a lot of this collection anyway. But a few weeks ago, when they announced what the updated premium subscription would be, I decided to get in. I also had my arm twisted by a few mates of mine, so Greg Brown and Mike Martin. I had a good chat with them a few weeks ago, and yeah, they've talked me into getting this. So I'm going to cover all 80 issues. We're starting with issue 1 today. What I won't be doing is big long videos for multiple issues. Although I'll be getting them monthly through the post, I won't be doing all of the issues in one video, just because when I've done that in the past, I've tended to not give each issue its kind of just rewards. So we're going to do that. This week I'll be firing out probably 2 reviews a day. So I'm recording this on Monday. I'll probably post up a review Tuesday morning for issue 1, Tuesday evening for issue 2, Wednesday morning for issue 3, and Wednesday evening for issue 4. But we're going to get into it all, and we're going to cover everything in depth. Also in the next week or so, I'll be doing another video going through all of the contents and value of the entire collection. So I've done a little video on the value of the collection a few months ago, but that has all changed now. Games Workshop put all of their prices up today by an average of about almost 7% in the UK. That will affect the value of the range and obviously the value of the premium content as well. Plus, we also find out in today's issue about some content which I never knew about before. But we'll get into that as we go through the video. So yeah, so I'm in it for the long haul. I'm really looking forward to it. But today, let's crack on with issue number 1. So, in this one, we get 3 models. Let's get tore into this. Now, I have actually seen this magazine from the trial run, and there are some things that I really like about this issue number 1. So if you harken back to previous Hachette Heartworks Warhammer products, issue 1 was for Mortal Realms. Issue 1 was absolutely terrific. It had 3 Sequitors and 10 Chain Rasps. And then starting with Imperium, they went for one of these kind of small HQ sprues. So I'm pretty sure that when we get a 10th edition 40k box later this year, I'm pretty sure it will have a sprue similar to this, which will be no doubt a Space Marine Space Marine character, and almost certainly a Tyranid one as well. And that will be the first sprue for whatever the next 40k magazine is after Imperium has finished. But yeah, this is good, a good start. We'll get into the models in a minute. But what I wanted to do is quickly have a look through some of the supporting paperwork before we get into the magazine, because there's some cool stuff. We get obviously a big poster. Which is cool, you won't be able to see all of that. But yeah, very nice. We also get a board, a double-sided board. So we get this side, which looks a lot like Mars. even though it's in the Mortal Realms. Some sort of desert. And then on this side, we've got something a little bit more familiar that is marked out for some learning to play stuff. So what I'll do is the missions that we get in the first 4 issues, I won't cover them in these videos, but maybe I'll do one video just to catch up on all of those. Going forward, I intend to assemble the models and that kind of thing before I do the review. But for these early ones, we're just going to go through the sprue when we get there in the magazine. Okay, so then we also get our typical pull out, which tells us about the collection and that kind of stuff. So issue number 2, 10 Gut Rippers. Issue number 3, we get 5 of the Stormcast Vindicators. Goes through all of our additions. Okay, so I knew about the modelling kit. So that's a set of clippers, some glue, and a mould line remover, a little tiny mould line remover. So you get these if you subscribe online. I knew about those. I knew that obviously we'll get a binder with some dividers and that kind of thing. I knew that we'd be getting a nice Stormbringer mug. The paintbrush set, I didn't know that we'd actually be getting the new updated ones, so the new synthetic brushes. And I didn't realise as well that we'd be getting a Xandria Azure Bolt miniature. So that's on the 7th delivery. That's quite interesting. That was a special model that was available just for the Mortal Realms collection. That was issue 5 from there. And we have got a new model for issue 5 for this collection as well. You'll get to see some good images of that when I review issue number 3 and 4. But it's got those, and then it's obviously got our form to fill out to do it the old-fashioned way, but obviously just go online and do it. This is the premium content. So what we can see is premium issue number 1 going to be Krondis, son of Dracothian. That can be built into another model. Premium issue 2, we've got Gordrak, the Fist of Gork. That can be built into another model as well. Premium issue 3, Grunstock Gunhauler, Etheric Navigator, and 3 Skywardens. And issue number 4, we've got Dankhold Troggoth and 3 Rockgut Troggoths. Now, I will break down the values of all of these as they are and give you that video by the end of the week. So I'll be going through all of the pricing for the entire collection. But I will be using this to help me. So this gives us a bit of a rundown and a bit of a kind of hobby checklist for everything in the game. So this is good in some cases, but not in others. So for example, it goes through, here's all of the Cruel Boys units that we'll get. It's got a kind of little checklist for building them, painting them, and playing with them. I'm quite shocked that they left space for people to put names down for them. I don't know who's going to be naming all of their Hobgrot Slitters and that kind of thing, but cool space anyway. So we've got that. We've got a small amount for our Iron Jaws. So we get actually a few Iron Jaws. We get a Mega Boss, a War Chanter, a set of Ard Boys, and some Iron Skulls Boys. And then we've got quite a large collection of Gloomspite Gits that we will get over the course of time. And then our Armies of Order, we obviously got a lot of Stormcast Eternals. Most of this from the new range and from mainly that Dominion box that came out about 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. A small amount of Sylvaneth and a small amount of Caradron Overlords. So all this stuff is great. It's nice that they've done the Sylvaneth because there was a one of the premium boxes from Mortal Realms, the Age of Sigmar predecessor to Stormbringer, was for Sylvaneth. So it's good that those of you who have got that originally can now build upon that with some really quite cool stuff as well. So this is brilliant because it will let us track all of our, building and painting and all that kind of stuff. The one thing that they have forgotten about in this is the terrain. So no mention of the terrain in this folder here. Really could have done with it. And also no mention of anything that comes with the premium content. Although I'm hoping that with premium issue number 1, we'll get a kind of addition to this page that will include all the premium content. Right, so that just about covers everything except for the magazine. So let's do that now. What have we got? Enter the mortal realms, build your first models, and fight your first battle. Because this is laid out differently to other magazines that I've done in the past, and I've reviewed, like I say, well over 100 of them, probably 160 of them or so. Welcome to the Age of Sigmar. Since the beginning of time, war has raged across the mortal realms. This war has touched the lives of every mortal who has ever lived. The prize of this war is nothing less than reality itself. So there's some very cool stuff here. Looks like some Varangard, maybe some Slaves to Darkness in there. And obviously lots of Stormcast stuff. So we get an introduction to the Stormcast Eternals themselves. So, Era of the Beast. Sigmar is not the only god seeking to expand his kingdom. Armies surge across the realms looking to conquer new lands and through strategy. Cunning or brutal displays of force. Through strategy, cunning or brutal displays of force. Bloody battles break out as warriors struggle for control of the vital locations or areas rich in magical resource. So that's Era of the Beast. It also has sections for Storm of Magic and Gods and Monsters. So we get an introduction to Stormcast Eternals and an introduction to the Cruel Boys. Okay, then we learn a little bit about our models. So we have the Knight Arcanum. The mortal realms are home to countless secrets and mysteries. It is a sacred duty of the Knight's Arcanum to find and guard these secrets, ensuring that only Sigmar and his chosen may use them. Use the tables below and on the next page to give your Knight Arcanum a name and story. All of this information, if you're new to Warhammer, all of this is just for flavour. It's not going to make any difference in the game itself, so you can pursue all of this kind of stuff to till your heart is content. So let's get a look here. Okay, character traits. So I'm going to roll a d6 for that. So this one, character trait is Delphine. This Knight Arcanum was a witch hunter who rooted out worshippers of the dark gods and delivered holy vengeance. I'll give her an origin story. So I rolled a 1, so that's a Thunderhead. That's her last name. When this Knight Arcanum is enraged, lightning sparks from her eyes. So you can actually use that as an in for your painting when you're doing it. So other ones such as Storm Soul, this Knight Arcanum knows a terrible forbidden magical secret. So all of this is just for flavour and for fun. So very, very cool stuff. Oh, so that was her first name. So her name would have been Delphine Thunderhead. Okay, next up we've got the Killer Boss and Stabgrot. All Uruks are dangerous, but few are as dangerous as a Killer Boss. They combine brute strength with low cunning and use wicked plots to get the better of their enemies. Use the tables below and on the next page to give your Killer Boss and Stabgrot names and a story. So we're going to go 5. So his first name is Zorog. This Killer Boss distracts his enemies while his loyal Stabgrot sneaks behind them for a killing blow. So we've got Zorog, Kringle, nice. This Stabgrot, oh, so this is the name of the Stabgrot. This Stabgrot is a light-fingered, this Stabgrot likes to skulk around out of view before darting in to deliver a killing blow. Cool. Okay, so then we've got our build guide. So obviously if you're collecting this, this should be... So the reason I've got a few issues a bit earlier than what it appears to be most other people is that when I did my subscription, I subscribed from issue 3, knowing that I'd get issue 1 and 2 in my local shop. So I subscribed from issue 3, and I think that's why I've started to get my issues a bit earlier. But because that was my first delivery, I didn't get any of the extras in it. So when you collect, you'll get your first delivery, which will have the first 2 issues in it, and then on your next one, you will get the things you need for the assembly, and that is a pot of plastic glue, a set of clippers, and a mold line remover. So let's have a brief look on the sprue. And like I say, I will assemble everything, and I will do the playthroughs for the missions in the first 4 issues. I'll do those separately and release them maybe beginning of next week. But on one side, we have our Stormcast, the Knight Arcanum. Very nice texture for the base. Very cool stuff here. Again, this is from the, it's all push fit. Again, this is from the Dominion box that came out. And I think this is in any of the starter boxes you get, you'll find this. And then we've got our Killer Boss with the Stab Grot on this side. So very cool stuff. And obviously to go with those, we get our bases. Okay, so that's our build guide. There is a how to paint page here. We don't have any paints yet. Obviously those come in issue 4. Again, review for that coming out in the next 2 days. But one thing which astounds me, and Games Workshop actually released a video on the Warhammer YouTube page a few weeks ago, where they are trying to convince us to go ahead and paint these models without priming them. And that for me is just, it's a big no. It's a big no. It's very difficult to do, and it's just an exercise in frustration. So the best thing to do is use a spray primer to prime your models before you start painting. Yeah, I think it's quite wild that they still seem to think that it's acceptable to not prime your miniatures and just start painting. So 2 reasons for priming them is that number 1, it lets the paint go on so much easier. So much easier. And number 2, it makes your models much less likely to either the paint flake off, or just start cracking all over the place. I'm not saying that will happen, but I'll say it's much less likely to happen if you spray prime your miniatures. Either spray prime, or you can do it with an airbrush as well if you've got one. So in the future issues of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormbringer, you will receive paints and brushes that you will use to paint your models. This is a fun part of the hobby and will also make your models look amazing. Don't worry if you've never painted models before, you will receive guides and tutorials at each step along the way. And then it takes us through the basics of base coating, doing your shades, and highlighting your model. So a couple of pages of that. A game like no other. In Warhammer Age of Sigmar, you fight epic battles with armies that you've collected, built and painted. With determination, strategy and luck, you will battle opponents and claim glory in the mortal realms. So it's very cool, and I have to say that wargaming on slightly larger scales, there is nothing like it. Really, very cool stuff. My regular gaming group that I run on a Sunday night, we've got people that regularly play Age of Sigmar, and when there's a full tabletop and that's running, it really does make for a fantastic spectacle. always made better when it's got painted miniatures and people that know what they're doing. So yeah, lots and lots of fun. It is a game like no other. Okay, your first game. It's time for battle. In your first game of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, you'll learn how to fight with your models, how to use dice, and how to slay your enemies. Duel of Champions A playthrough 1, is the perfect game to start with. So basically, this is just a straight up fight between the Killer Boss and the Knight Arcanum. Not using the Stab Grot for this, it looks like. So we've got our 6 dice as well, which came through, which actually I have to say, I'll be honest with you, these feel more premium than any dice I've ever received in these magazines. Obviously they're just white dice with black dots, but they do feel better than the ones we received before. There's a decent weight to them. Yeah, it's a strange thing to get excited about, the kind of first dice in the set, but yeah, very, very good. It feels like an upgrade, so that's good. So yeah, but we'll go through all the playthroughs on a separate video for the first 4 issues. Then maybe after that we'll start to do them along with the review. So we'll flip through this. And it's got some victory conditions. So yeah, looks like the first main fight is just to kill your opponent. So there you go. Okay, so more information on the subscription and a nice clean image of all of the rewards for your subscription, all the stuff that you get for it. And it's, you know, it's 2 great forces. If you've already got Mortal Realms, you will be increasing your Stormcast army exponentially. It's going to be huge. And if you've got the premium content from those, you've got some nice stuff to add on to things that you already have as well. But yeah, very cool. Very cool. And in fact, there was premium content for Mortal Realms for the standard orcs, and we get to buff them up with what we've got here as well. But very cool. So issue number 2 review will be out very soon. So with that, we get 10 of these Gut Rippers. And then issue number 3, we get 5 of these Vindicator models. And that will be up very, very soon. But like I say, drop a subscribe because I'm in this for the long haul and I'm really looking forward to it. So thanks very much for watching, guys. Much appreciated. I will see you later.